Chapter 26, The Elite and Paedophilia. Reporter Anthony Tyler wrote about the link between the wealthy elite and American paedophilia. He comments that while many feel comfortable dismissing such stories as conspiracy theories, the sad and disturbing reality is that the vast majority of information is gathered from thousands of childhood sexual assaults, and more often than not, the cases were reported along with satanic ritualistic abuse, which I will cover in the next chapter. Jim Mars writes in his book Our Occulted History that years ago Rothschild biographer Ferguson stated that the son of one of Baron Salomon Rothschild's senior clerks recalled that by the 1840s, Baron Rothschild had developed a somewhat reckless enthusiasm for young girls, so this interest in the young by the elite had begun a long time ago, and John D. Camp researched the recent link between the elite and pedophilia and found that monarch refers to young people in America who were victims of mind control experiments, run either by the United States government agencies such as the CIA or military intelligence agencies. Alternative researcher Dave McGowan found similar, and commented on the satanic pedophilia cult from Tallahassee in Tennessee called the Handlers, who have connections to the CIA and the prostitution network, suggesting a link between Satanism, U.S. intelligence and pedophilia. McGowan wrote a research article named The Pedophocracy, which has an extensive bibliography. In an excerpt from McGowan's article is a report from Officer Sandy Gallant of the San Francisco Police Department, sent out to her superiors and high-ranking officials, but without any interest. She gathered evidence from fellow officers and police departments across the country and summarized the evidence referenced in the police reports that were submitted to her. She said that the information contained herein is distasteful and bizarre, to such a degree that one would choose to discredit it. However, research that I have done in this area has revealed that numerous cases of this type are surfacing around the country and in Canada. The similarities in the stories of each child victim used in these crimes tend to give credibility to the information revealed by others. Additionally, the psychiatrists and therapists who have been treating the victims state that the consistency of the stories and the explicit details revealed cause them to believe that these children are telling the truth. It is also the belief of each law enforcement officer who submitted information for this report that the victims are being truthful and that, in fact, children would be unable to make such stories up. During my research, similarities began surfacing which indicate the strong probability that there exists a network of people in this country involved in the sexual abuse and possible homicides of young children. These cases appear to differ from isolated cases of abuse towards children in that the crimes mentioned here have been committed with one common goal in mind, that of mutilating and murdering children for ritualistic or sacrificial purposes. Many of the cases reported also reveal the possibility of child pornography beyond the normal type of kiddie porn, in that these children are photographed during rituals with some members in robes or other garb, and candles, snakes, swords, altars and other types of ritualistic material being used. Whatever the missing children statistics, there are many that look into this subject and coincidentally end up dead, and Gary Caradori, who uncovered the Franklin scandal, is only one of them. Stories range from daycare centers like the McMartin preschool scandal of the early 1980s, with its underground tunnels, involving 7 teachers, unnamed adults that were never identified, with over 400 serial molestation charges involving ritualistic torture, to the Lawrence King's Franklin Financial Credit Union Boys Town scandal of the late 1980s that provided clear financial ties all across D.C. and straight to their White House's doorstep, not including the orchestrated abductions of children like Paperboy Johnny Gush of Des Moines, Iowa in the late 1980s. Project Monarch ties also seep into the Vatican Church with its history of molestation and a timeline of hush-hush molestation culture at West Point Academy and others like the Penn State Sandusky scandal. The Monarch program is a continued subsection of Project Culture which deals with ritualistic abuse in order to induce a multiple personality dissociative identity disorder that fractures a person's self into many different identities, in order to compartmentalize intense trauma. It has been rumored that Disney's Mickey Mouse Club is a spotlight for some of the privileged children of the Monarch program, and such stars have included Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Amanda Bynes, Lindsay Lohan and others. Eyewitness accounts of surviving victims taken from books, interviews and court testimonials and mainstream outlets such as MSNBC, Discovery Channel and The Washington Post have implicated prominent names as association with this theme, and they are Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Robert Byrd, former CIA Director William Casey and Barney Frank. A series of child molestations at the Vatican is thought to be the centrifuge of a child prostitution ring on a network level, and some reports even tie this network to the royal family. Hunter S. Thompson's name has also been brought forward because he apparently acquired a taste for the darker side of indulgences which he could have picked up from spending 2 years with the Hells Angels, who like sadistic ritualism and trafficking of differing kinds. Paul Bonacci, who was a Monarch victim, said that after the Johnny Gush kidnapping, he recounts of a time with a child on a plane that stopped in Nevada where Hunter S. Thompson was picked up. On this flight, Thompson filmed Bonacci in pornographic snuff film in which Bonacci was the surviving half of the pair, but not the murderer. Fans of Hunter may note his reference to the drug adrenochrome in his book, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which it is said was given to him by a Satanist whom had extracted it from the pineal gland of a ritualistic human sacrifice. Some victims involved with the Monarch program child prostitution ring are Paul Bonacci, Kathy O'Brien, Troy Boner, Alicia Owen and Johnny Gosch. The second biggest story in the media after the Franklin scandal in Omaha, Nebraska, was the case of Johnny Gosch and the struggles that his mother Noreen went through to get any sort of legal or political help to begin an authentic investigation. Years after Johnny's abduction and the Franklin scandal's court debut, a joint effort between a variety of court hearings, personal research by and for Noreen's case, and the testimonials of Paul Bonacci, revealed that Noreen's husband, unknowingly to her, had established connections with Lawrence King and a network of child prostitution. Johnny's father offered his son as a possible selection, who was then chosen by members of the network. Bonacci, who was 18 at the time of Johnny's kidnapping, remembers being chosen to initiate Johnny into the prostitution ring by molesting him, where he was then sold and traded to different handlers. One of the first handlers that Johnny was given to for distribution was supposedly a man named Michael Aquino, who is a chief executive of the Temple of Set, an overtly satanic cult that split off from the Church of Satan in 1975. In addition to this, Aquino had occupied his time serving as a lieutenant colonel, military intelligence in the United States Army. He was known to the abducted children as the Colonel and is a recurring figure in research. Bonacci recalls being with handlers as they staked out Johnny Gosch with photographs while he was at school and other places. Gosch was abducted in 1982 at 12 years of age and did not turn up again until 1997, where he turned up on his mother's doorstep. He told his mother that he had escaped from his handler from somewhere far away by stealing a car with a friend. Anthony Tyler also mentions the reporting by James Corbett and Siebel Edmonds on the Clinton administration's COINTELPRO-2 operation within the Justice Department. The operation allowed Clinton to dig up leverage on numerous prominent Republican politicians in order to keep himself afloat during his own scandals. The majority on the dirt reported on by Edmonds and Corbett is in conjunction with claims of a pedophile ring involving some of the country's biggest politicians. The Dennis Hastert scandal reported to be just another file dug up with COINTELPRO 2. Corey Feldman became an outspoken advocate against the network of pedophilia that happens behind the scenes in Hollywood, claiming that both he and Corey Haim, amongst others, would be subjected to unspeakable things during their on-set relationships with powerful moguls, actors and directors, and Feldman even claims that this was a factor in Haim's death.